Justice Kagan? Justice Gorsuch?
I'd like to ask you just a hypothetical about narrow tailoring, because we're in strict scrutiny land here, and the university has to demonstrate it's narrowly tailored, race is narrowly tailored, and the diversity is the rationale you've asserted before us. Universities also have all kinds of other plus factors they use, like for legacies of alumni, for donors' children, for squash players, we learned. There are plus factors, because we need those too. And I guess I'm wondering, suppose a university, a wealthy university, could eliminate those preferences which tend to favor the children of wealthy white parents and achieve diversity without race consciousness. Would strict scrutiny require it to do so?
If I may, I'd like to just make a threshold point that those are not,
well,
that doesn't match our facts.
I understand, counsel, I understand the hypothetical is not your case and you don't like it. Right. I got it.
Right.
Okay, but if you could just take a shot at it.
The absolutely critical point, if I could just very quickly, is that it's undisputed that legacy status does not affect
I
everyone.
understand, counsel.
So, yeah.
I do understand, and I appreciate that, okay? I've had to face many hypotheticals at a lecture and I didn't like. Yeah. But let's just take the hypothetical. We're in strict scrutiny. Compelling interest has to be established. Wealthy university, okay? And it still prefers all of these, and give checks to these kinds of persons, not for their academic merit, but because they would bring diversity in the form of a squash team. Or they might bring a new art museum, we heard, for example. Oh, we have to admit that kid because his parents are going to donate an art museum, okay? Suppose the university could achieve race neutrally, just suppose, race neutrally, all of its diversity objectives, if it just eliminated those preferences, would strict scrutiny require it to do so?
I would say yes if three things are true.
All right.
First, that alternative would have to also match the compelling interest, because as I mentioned, this court has never recognized a compelling interest.
Is there a compelling interest in a squash team composed of really good players or a new art museum? Is that what you're suggesting?
No, Your Honor, that's not what I'm suggesting.
Okay, so there's no compelling interest in those things you're telling us.
Right, and so if the alternative didn't have an effect on broad-based diversity, not solely racial diversity, which is our main objection to the RNAs.
We'd have a great socioeconomic diversity, we'd have great religious diversity, we just would have a crummy squash team and no art museum. Then what?
Right. And I think the other condition I would try to sneak in is that there wouldn't be a material negative impact on the academic environment. And third is that...
so the GPAs are good. So these kids that are being admitted, same GPA, same SAT. Then what?
Right, and I guess the third would be that the specific goal of racial diversity is not significantly undermined. And so, yeah, with those three conditions, I agree.
Okay, thank you.
Justice Kavanaugh.
How are applicants from Middle Eastern countries classified, from Jordan, Iraq, Iran, Egypt, and the like?
My understanding is that just like other situations where they might not fit within the particular boxes on the common application, that we rely on self-reporting, and we would ask, they can volunteer their particular country of origin.
But if they honestly check one of the boxes, which one are they supposed to check?
I do not know the answer to that question. What I can say is that if a person from a Middle Eastern country discloses their country of origin, it would be considered in the same way that we consider any box that matches, one of the boxes that's available on the common application, which is it would be an individualized, holistic analysis. And I can genuinely say that there would be a similar positive analysis in terms of the contribution that a student like that would contribute. And we do track, in particular, again, after the admissions process, religion and country of origin and that sort of thing.
Thank you.
Justice Barrett.
Just have one more question about endpoint. So, Alan Bakke would have been born into a pre-Brown world, and then we have 25 years, we get to Grutter. Grutter says, we cannot imagine, as I read that language before, this is dangerous. We can't imagine it's going to go on more than another 25 years. And you've been pressed a little bit about what is the end point for you. This distance of time, this 50 years since Bakke, suggests accurately, I think, that achieving diversity and diverse student populations in universities has been difficult. What if it continues to be difficult in another 25 years? I take it that because you've repeatedly said that the 25 years is aspirational, and you told Justice Kavanaugh it wasn't a holding, that you don't think that University of North Carolina has to stop in 25 years, in the 2028 mark. So what are you saying when you're up here in 2040? Are you still defending it, like this is just indefinite, it's going to keep going on?
I think that Grutter is helpfully self-limiting in that it requires aggressive and enthusiastic adoption of race-neutral alternatives. And I think it's a dial, not a switch. And the progress that we've made since Grutter has shown that at the University of North Carolina, we have dialed it down substantially. The expert evidence in that case, obviously they're different institutions, was that around 70% of the underrepresented minorities in the institution at issue in Grutter, it was determinative that they had a certain racial background. And here the number is far smaller, and we anticipate that we would be able to dial it down to zero. And I think the reason why I feel confident in that is because of Grutter's requirement that we continue exploring doggedly race-neutral alternatives. And even since the record has closed, the University of North Carolina has done so and is continually attempting to monitor it.
Thank you.